So what we're going to do today is go through the other side of learning a skill set. Now, in this one, I just want to give a background of me and how I got to making this Coder Trader community. And so you will get value by the end of this video. But it is just going to be a little bit of about the community, about me, like my thinking and all that, and why I decided to make this community. And it has changed over time as well. And so what it has morphed, so what it started as, and then what it has morphed into. Okay, so first, let me start a little bit about my background. So let's start when I'm 18. So actually, I am 30 at the moment. No, I'm not 30 at the moment. I'm going to be 30 in a few days. But when I was 18, I think that's the most important thing to do there is I wanted to be a medical doctor. I remember I really wanted to be a medical doctor. But unfortunately, honestly, the big thing for me was I didn't have the marks to go into that field. I worked very hard. I studied nuts. It was nuts how much I studied. Probably should have studied a little bit less, to be honest, and had a bit more of a social life because I didn't end up getting the medical degree anyway. But what happened was, yeah, I wanted to be a medical doctor, and then there was a medical exam, and I kind of like just, I don't want to swear on this, but what I really wanted to do, and then I just kind of was afraid of the medical exam, and I didn't do it, so I ended up switching my major to math. Math seemed easier to me as well. I kind of enjoyed everything about math. It was really, really nice. But, so yeah, I decided to do calculus, linear algebra, vector calculus, all the differential equation stuff. And then there was also like statistics and probability. And the thing with statistics and probability, there is the coding bit. And this was really the first time I was introduced to the land of coding. So I came from math, then I went into coding, right? And so same thing with math. I worked really hard and I did amazingly well on assignments and things like that. But it's just the exams would kill my marks. So it was weird because there was this disconnect between, okay, I'm working extremely hard, but it's just the marks don't show it, right? The marks do not show, and it just made me a little bit frustrated and sort of a little bit hopeless as well. So what I decided to do was started reading books about how to study better, how to study. Like, is there something, I asked myself, maybe I'm working really hard, right? But is there sort of things I'm missing? And it actually turns out I was. So I was doing stupid things. Like I was just looking, I don't know how I managed to do it, but I was just like reading the textbook for 4 hours. Like I was just like, I'm going to willpower it for 4 hours. And I did that. But it turns out you do things like that, it doesn't actually stick. It doesn't actually stick in your head. That's a problem. So, there's a lot of things I changed, like flashcards, making things more interesting, Pomodoro technique, all that crazy stuff. So I started going into the realm of working smarter. So I knew how to work harder, just didn't know how to work smarter. And that's something I do want to introduce into Coder Trader. The idea of working smarter, because to teach someone to work harder is actually quite simple. But it's tricky. So it's simple, but it's hard, right? So you just need willpower to work harder, but working harder is very simple. You just kind of sit down and do the work. That's quite easy to instill. That's half the battle. The other half is working smarter, which I didn't know how to do. So that's one thing I want to put into Coder Trader, right? And I think that's very important because you can go on YouTube, you can go on wherever, and you can find a million videos about specifically like coding techniques and stuff like that. We do cover coding techniques at a high level, and I will go in the nitty gritty of showing you code because sometimes you just have to look at code sometimes. But also, I do realize there is the working smarter to it as well. So I go through my whole university, and then I'm kind of like doing mathematical biology, solving differential equations and stuff in my masters. And then I just sort of fell in love with finance, and I switched to finance, and I start working in the financial industry as a coder. So I wanted to be a quant, but it turns out there's not many jobs as like pure math quants. So I decided to learn coding, and I honestly fell in love with coding. I'm way better at coding than I am with math, and I just persisted. And honestly, it started real simple. I just bought a few courses, looked at YouTube, did all that, and it was great because, and the thing about coding is that you get an immediate result quickly. You get an immediate result very quickly. So it's either your program runs or doesn't run. It's kind of like a slot machine. I liken it to a slot machine when you're gambling or something like that. It's horrible, I know, but it is what it is. So anyway, I'm in the financial industry, and then this is when I'm introduced to, there's a difference between the academic world and the work world. The academics is like, very noble, and it's like, all the steps need to be right. And the financial world or the industry, the corporate world is like, if it works, it works. Don't fix it if it's not broken, right? Or, it's kind of like, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? So it's very different mindsets there. And that's one thing I noted that as well. So that's another thing I do want to introduce into the community. So mindset training. And I am in the works at the moment building out sort of mindsets about things. So there's, two different mindsets, the academic mindset, and then there's the industry mindset. And, we'll discuss that in future courses. But there is the mindset of just like believing in yourself, because sometimes you can get pretty discouraged when you are coding something or doing a math problem. And what gets most people is like, they are on the right track, but they don't go all the way to the top. They don't go all the way to the top. So they sort of, for example, this used to be very common in my coding career. So maybe I'd have a side project. And you'd start it, you'd make a plan, and you'd start implementing components, right? And then a few things go wrong, and then it chips away at your mental state. Another thing goes wrong, it chips away at your mental state. And then after that, you have all these scars, these chips, right? And then you sort of hit this point where you just don't see the project to completion, right? And that is the typical thing. Now, one of the most important lessons I learned in industry was that you actually just need to deliver the product. You just need to deliver the product because, okay, think about this, right? So if you start the project and you get 10% of the way there, right? But you haven't delivered. Okay, in another world, you start the product, the project, whatever, and you get 90% of the way there. Is there really a difference between you having only gone to 10% versus going to 90% in terms of the view of the client or who you're delivering it to? And the client could be the boss. I argue that there is no difference, right? So if you push 95% there, and you don't get the other 5%, it's pretty much the same as having done nothing because you have no tangible product in the end. And this honestly is not a lack of coding, a lack of knowledge, because you can go out into the world and find these things, especially with AI. You literally outsource your thinking, and we'll talk about that very soon. So, you just don't have a tangible product you can deliver. And so in the eyes of other people, it is literally, the results are zero. You have zero results. And it comes down to a mental game. if you had just pushed that extra 5%, it's like a self-sabotage thing. If you just push to the end, you would have something tangible. So what I really want to instill in all the members here, and I'm going to put this in our mindset course, which is coming, is that you need the mindset where you just don't give up and you push and deliver and see things through to the end. Because I don't want the members in this community to be like that guy that has big plans but never follows through. I want them to be, you just deliver. You just deliver product. Okay, so now I did say I wanted to talk a little bit about AI, which is huge. It has changed the game in terms of learning and just getting stuff done. For example, you know, in industry, or you're making a product, right? Now, all these things are a little bit off the cuff and they're random, but I just sort of want to get you in my head and what, you know, the mindset of what Coder Trader is. And because we will go over coding techniques, like, you know, maybe coding patterns, how to design systems, coming up with a plan, and then what to do after the plan, and maybe even specific optimization things. But that's half the battle. Half the battle is in your head. Honestly, it's half in your head. So getting back to AI, it's nuts. It's nuts. AI literally outsources your brain. So when you're learning a coding language, I honestly believe at this point, 2025, I made this video in 2025, that you can learn anything with AI. So think back 10 years ago, how would you have learned code? You would have gone and looked at the documentation. You would have bought a book off Amazon or bought an online book on your Kindle or whatever. Or you would have looked at a YouTube series and then you would have followed the YouTube series. Or you would have bought a course on Udemy or something like that. And that's how I did it back in the day. But today it's changed. What you can literally do. And honestly, I'm just going to give this to you away for free. This is a huge secret. I feel it honestly, it makes like most coding videos like obsolete now. And so that's why I'm focusing on a lot on the coding mindset of things. I think that's the differentiating thing with Coder Trader. You literally type in the prompt. It's like, hey AI, hello ChatGPT, hello Claude AI, I want to learn Python, right? You can just say this, like you type this, I want to learn Python. I'm starting from zero, or maybe I have a year of experience. Can you make a 6-week program that will sort of take me from a beginner level to intermediate, or intermediate to advanced, or, you know, advanced to sort of world class? World class, right? And it'll come up with a program for you. It'll probably be quite general, right? So do that right now. Even pause the video, do that right now. Then on top of that, so, okay, you have your prompt. Okay, and it's a pretty cool lesson. And then let's say you start going through it, and then you keep a track of all the things you're struggling with, all the things you do good, and then you put that into the AI. It's like, hey, AI, so remember me, I actually asked you about this, and I'm actually struggling with this, but I'm really good at this, and I like how you explained it like this. Can you modify the lesson to be more like this? Or can you give me more practice problems like this? Or can you suggest coding competitions where it focuses on this? Or maybe I want to do machine learning. Can you suggest websites that is related to machine learning? Or maybe I want to do more algorithmic things, job interview things. Can you suggest some job interview problems or books that address how to quickly, you know, do lead code questions or things like that? So that, because okay, the thing about AI is like you ask it what you want, and then it'll tailor it to exactly what you want. So that is the quantum leap, the huge jump, right? And so what we focus on here is like, there is no way Coder Trader is going to compete with I'd love to compete with OpenAI and make a Coder Trader AI that has an awesome like tutor in the background and stuff, but it's a little bit intangible. Maybe later, maybe in decade later. But for now, we are going to focus on how to steer the AI to exactly what you want and how to get the most out of it. So that is something we are going to do. And the thing is, like, we are going to embrace AI. We're going to embrace AI and use it as a tool. Now, having said that, one of my favorite books. So here's another little story. I know this is a little bit of a rant, but I just want to give you more value. Give it like I'm just ripping off the cuff what value I can give you in this video. Hopefully you go away and you maybe actually do something tangible. And then I would love for you to come on the Coder Trader community, get in the boot camps, go through the AI course. And honestly, I'd really like to help you, and I'd love to see you there as well. And we just want to make you this awesome expert coder. But anyway, back to the point. AI, right? You use AI as a tool. One of my favorite books is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. If you know who Peter Thiel is, I think he co-founded PayPal with Elon, right? And in his book, he says, I'm paraphrasing this, so I don't exactly know the quote, but the gist of it goes, right? If you're just a human, you won't be as productive. If you're just an AI, in 2025, you won't be as productive. But the most productive individual is someone who uses AI and their own human knowledge and skills. And it's like, why not use both? Use both. So there is sort of an art of when do I need to use AI versus when do I need to sort of put it on pause for a little bit, think about it. Okay, now I've thought about it. I'm going to let AI do the heavy lifting, and then I'm going to steer it in the right direction. That is a little bit of an art, because if you are a human doing it by yourself, you might take 6 months to do something. It might just take you 6 months, but AI human would have done it in like 3 days. So you're extremely slow, and you can't type as fast as the AI. If you're an AI, right, and you just say, okay, I want you to build me a trading system, go. You haven't told it which directions to go, and then you haven't, after that, you need to prompt it to specify, make sure it goes in the right direction, make sure you fix this, fix that, right? You just say, hey, let it build whatever you need to build. I trust your AI. That's fine. What ends up happening more times than not, and hey, they might fix this in 5 years, but the code is great. There's so much code. There's thousands of lines of code written, and there's no way I would be able to type that up in an hour or whatever, even days, right? But sometimes the code is 85% good. But there's this 20% of code, 80% good, 85% good. Then there's 20 or 15% of code that is horrible, and it is going to destroy your program, and it's going to blow up in your face. And all the 85% of the code, or 20%, or the 80% of the code, it just ends up being completely useless because of that bad bits. And that's because you didn't steer it in the right direction. So, this may change. This actually may change in 5 years. I reckon it may change in 5 years. And then in 5 years, I'm just going to have to adjust Coder Trader for the market. But as the market is right now, you're going to have to do a little bit of steering and work with the AI. So you and the AI need to be one. So you need to get good at prompting, but also you need to get, you need to know when the AI is messing up. And so that is sort of, that comes back to the education part of code. I have a very unique style of educating, and it's AI first. So you ask the AI, okay, it'll probably get the very basic stuff correct. So you prompt it for a 6-week lesson, and then you go ahead and you learn everything you need to learn. Now, the important thing is when you are learning the code, right? You need to so you have your LLM, your chat-based thing, but you need to turn all the autocomplete off. And you need to go through the hard and difficult exercise of typing it all out. You need typing all the basics out. You just need a muscle memory of that, because you need to know where there are syntax errors, semantic errors in your code. You need to do this once. It's grueling and it's hard, but as soon as you do it once, it's going to be in your head forever. And then you can start using AI to just go, boom, a million miles. But as long as you type it out first once, right, you will be able to just be one with the AI. You'll be one with the AI, and you can steer it in all different kinds of directions. You'll know when to use autocomplete. You'll know maybe when to turn off the autocomplete. Maybe you're using the LLM and it's going in the wrong direction, so you hit escape and you stop. It stops the response, and you're like, no, AI, I actually wanted something more like that. Okay, so I think that's enough about chatting about AI. Now, this is kind of what's going on in my head, and what I want to do is maybe talk to you about Coder Trader for a little bit. So it is a community, and if you sort of like my mindset, of, you know, it is half mindset, right? It is half mindset. And I know I sound a bit nuts from time to time, but I'm not nuts. Maybe I'm just misunderstood, but I'm very passionate about these things. So we will be going through coding techniques, and you will learn coding languages. There is that. But I've come to realize that, you know, doing math, and back in the day, I was a math tutor. I used to teach statistics and calculus in university. Half of it is the technique and learning it, then half of it is the mindset. Just believing in yourself, like really believing in yourself that you can do it. And honestly, like, I'm just Coder Trader, it will be like that. It's like, it's going to be like half like motivational, believe in yourself, like you can do it, we can follow this to the end, and things like that. But it is also going to be grounded in reality. So we're going to be using modern day tools like AI, and we'll be introducing, like, you know, extensions and all that. Like, we need an arsenal of tools, and we're going to be extremely practical about it. And then, in addition, I'm going to have live calls, these so-called boot camps, right? So I'm making a boot camp, and there's going to be phases. So the first phase I've made is phase 1, and that'll be free for the public, so you can join me on a call. And then I'm going to be making phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and all that, and we'll go through like simple things like how to use Git, how to Dockerize, how to make big projects. Like, you make a plan, and then how to go from the plan, turn it into code, how to deploy it, how to test it, all that stuff. And even how to get AI to automate things like, okay, I want to make a Docker Compose file, but I don't understand the YAML and all the instructions. Just get AI to do it, like what to prompt it to do, like what things you need to look out for, what things you need to type out, what things AI can type out for you, and things like that. So there is going to be the nitty gritty of coding. And then also on top of that, mindset, which I think is very important. And then depending if you're in academia, there's a way, you know, if you're a mathematician, the code it doesn't have to be pretty. But if you're in industry, maybe you need to sort of understand Git flow, or understand like how to make pull requests and things like that, and have standards and linting and all that kind of stuff. And then also I do want to start in later stages of our bootcamp, we'll go through how to stand up for yourself. So maybe you're at the start of your coding journey and you just need to get into the industry. Just take whatever job you can get and learn the insights. But later on, you're going to get to the point where it's like, okay, I'm providing so much value, I'm getting underpaid, and I feel underappreciated. How to stand up for yourself, how to actually get the value of whatever skills you have, right? How to get the right amount of value for your skills, because everyone, like all the bosses, like if you're the boss, you'd want to pay someone less for what they're worth, right? So think about it from the boss's perspective, like how to, you know, negotiate a proper salary, how to say, put forth your value proposition as well. So that's the working. And then even in the startup world as well, even in the startup world, if you're making your own apps or something like that, it can be lonely, it can be hard. How to have that iron will, the will of fire to just push through to the end, even if you're not seeing results. And then sort of all the other things as well that you might not think about. So, you know, like for example, getting... Like, so for example, if you're building a YouTube channel, can I use AI to make crazy like animations or things like that? That's going to be like a very small bit of the startup stuff I'm going to talk about later on. And then also like having a nice workspace, understanding your tools, which bits of code you can outsource and which bits you can't outsource, how to become the glue. I think that's a very important concept I'm going to talk about later. The glue. I might even make a course about it. So the way things are going is that you literally can outsource your thinking. Most of it. You can outsource 90% of your thinking, and you need to be the glue. So you make sub-projects. You make these sub-projects, and then you AI that, you AI that, you AI that, and then you have a little bit of 10% of the glue, the 10% of your thinking left, which is the glue. And you need to be able to stick all these things together. You need to be sticking all these things together. Okay, there's that. Then I'm going to talk a little bit, I love the mindset stuff, but also like optimization, right? So I honestly believe that you need to take care of your body and you need to eat the right foods. So I'm even going to share some of that as well. I'm going to share some of that. So what the foods I eat, so you don't get all brain fog, and you can actually focus, like sit dead straight at your computer for 6 hours, and then like taking breaks, the importance of exercise and all that. Because I think, to stay sharp, you really need to take care of your body and health and everything. And because it is honestly my belief that everything affects everything in life. So if you're doing well at work, I'm sure like that bleeds into your relationships and stuff like that. Or maybe you're not doing so well at work, that'll bleed, and then you'll be a bit more grouchy and things like that. And then maybe people in your family or your partner or something is like grouchy back to you, and then you go back to work and your work suffers. And then maybe it's just a spiral down to the depths of hell. So I'm very I feel no one talks about this when you're doing coding tutorials and stuff like that. But I think it is very, 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 very important to take care of things like this. And because it really does make a huge difference. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sort of close out this video. This is kind of a very long video, and I just wanted to just have a brain dump a little bit. Just a little bit of a brain dump. Think about my thoughts, where the community's going, and whatnot. So, go to the school. Yeah, there is some free stuff there. So we have a 7-day free trial at the moment. As soon as school releases the tiers, I'm going to have a free tier for people as well, and you can join. But there will be so there's the paid version as well, and you'll have access to a lot more things, more courses, and you'll also have more like sort of direct access to me, and we can come up with a plan. So wherever you are, if you're in the academic life, if you're in coding, industry stuff, or things like that, we can sort of come up with a plan and get you to where you want to go, right? And we'll give you all the tools, how to prompt AI, all that stuff. So with the premium stuff. But hopefully you got a little bit of value out of this. Maybe try some of the tricks with AI, and then join up and share in the community. I'd love to hear all your success stories and things like that. But for now, I'm gonna cut the video, and I hope to see you in the community.